Hi, we're here at the Flame Conference and I'm talking to Michot Foss, who is Chief Energy Economist at the Center for Energy Economics at the University of Texas. Now, Michot has given a very interesting and lively presentation earlier this morning in the main forum, so we're here to discuss some of the issues that she raised. Now, your main presentation was all about the impact of shale gas, which seems to be nothing but a success story in the US, but you started to talk about some of the problems that there are. It's not welcome by everybody.
Well, there are two major challenges. One is the cost structure of the shale plays themselves, and so that's certainly something that everyone's been learning more about. It's an expensive business. It's not a cheap business. There have been tremendous advances in using technology to manage cost, and there are some producers that have achieved great success with that. But it's a demanding resource. It has to be, there's a lot involved in reservoir planning, reservoir management, produced water handling, frac water handling, lots and lots of things that have to get done that impact cost structure. And then one of the other challenges is environmental protection and public concerns about that, and these things feed together because anything that happens that producers are required to do in response to public concerns is going to impact cost structure, and so we can see this tension growing and as the businesses progress.
Okay, so that's not being factored into the cost base yet?
Not yet.
No.
I mean, right now everyone is paying pretty much, conventional. I use the word conventional. It's the types of things that people are doing: drilling lateral wells, multi-stage fracking, all of those kinds of things are straight-off costs that people understand and can deal with and think about. Anything that you do that affects the complexity of well completions to address public concerns is just going to layer on top of that. Plus, of course, the regulatory cost, compliance cost, the political cost of dealing with all of this. That's where the great unknowns are.
So the bubble may get a bit smaller as a result of that.
Yes.
Yeah. One big difference between the US and, well, certainly all of Western Europe is the fact that I need you to explain it to us a bit. The landowner has mineral rights and makes some money out of it.
The landowner is king.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the US, roughly half of all of our oil and gas production is in the hands of private landowners overall, and historically this has always been the case. We have public domain landowners. The federal government controls everything in offshore, or most of offshore acreage. West of the Mississippi, you see the federal government a lot in surface land ownership. But for big chunks of the country, you can go directly to a private individual or a private corporation that controls both the surface and the subsurface mineral estate, negotiate with them directly, and come up with amicable leasing terms that include bonus payments, royalty rates, and all of those kinds of things. It's a market, and it's a very effective market because really smart landowners get very good bonuses and very good royalty rates. But it's much different than specifying things by law and having to deal with a public sector, a sovereign, whether a federal sovereign or a state sovereign, because the state governments themselves also are landowners.
Presumably that must have had a favourable impact on how fast shale gas is
it's
a big difference with Western Europe.
Yes.
Even if the technology, if Europe weren't so crowded a place with all the problems.
That's right. And the first of the shale plays, the first big plays, happened in states where there's a lot of sophistication among individual surface and landowners. So, people in Texas and Louisiana have been dealing directly with the oil and gas industry for, decades, and understand how the business works, are very friendly appreciate the opportunity to earn revenues from their minerals in partnership with oil companies. So you get these very comfortable relationships that you don't get in the public domain usually.
Okay. In your presentation, you gave some information about what you thought the range of costs for shale gas was, but you also talked about shale gas that is associated with oil.
Right.
I guess that must be the cheapest margin.
That is the cheapest, and the disparities are huge. So you can look at portions of the United States where most of the gas production, shale gas production, is associated gas with oil or condensates, and it's a zero marginal cost. So that's and there are not many, but there are a few locations that are like that, and then you can compare that to a location where it's all non-associated gas, and the cost structure is considerably higher. And so, I mean, you just see these strong differences, and the incentives for the industry right now, because of low natural gas prices, higher oil prices, to move into the oil-rich, liquids-rich locations is huge, really huge.
So, what sort of proportion is of the shale gas reserves?
We wish we knew. This is literally the $64 billion question, and a lot of research groups are trying to get a handle on this. As you can imagine, once operators sort of learn where they are and they learn what portion of the basin is oil prone or liquids prone, that becomes very tightly controlled.
Yes.
Very tightly controlled information. So everyone is kind of taking guesses about that right now, but it's become a very important part of the whole landscape.
Okay, thank you.